Hi, 22nd of September, Thursday. I was expecting a pretty tricky day. Look at the range of news that we have here. We have two MPC members speaking, we have Draghi speaking, we have Carney speaking later on, we have unemployment claims, existing home sales. This after the Bank of Japan and FOMC announcements. I would have thought that it was a pretty difficult day. As it turned out, it was a little bit tricky, but we actually seen the first real great trend, intraday trend, for quite a lot of time. And actually, we have finished, at least for today, this boring period of very low volatility. Also, quite interesting today, for the first time in quite a lot of time, we didn't have any valid trade on Forex, euro against the dollar and cable. This was filtered at A15, basically because of the it was too close to R3. This is the R3. I think that the percentage of the times that the market goes over R3 is probably less than 10, so I was quite wary. The other thing is that I never really like to go in after this big rally here without waiting for some sort of bears, in this case, action, and this wasn't triggered. In the afternoon, this was just before 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock was when Draghi was speaking, and this is just before 3 o'clock when there were US news. So nothing to do on, equally nothing to do on cable. Again, I don't like to enter after this unobstructed rally, and in any case, the market, surprise, as usual, you see quite a lot of times actually that has a movement before the 9:30, but 9:30 we don't trade a cable. Usually there are some news, so we didn't trade this, and then you had this bar here. You could have entered here. There would have been an advanced trade because the signal was on this particular bar. As it happened, you should have entered here. But all this is academic because this is 2:30. And Cunliffe was speaking for the MPC. And the entry would have been at about 99, so big round number. Very, very close to R2. And so that was to be rejected. And also this one, as you can see, here we would have made some money, but it wasn't possible to trade for our rules. And here we could have done something. But again, if you look at this, it's 3 o'clock news time, so nothing to do on cable either. So as I said, first time for quite a long time that we don't have any valid trade on Forex. Oil. We had a first trade here, short signal here, and the stop should have been up here or above the double moving average. As you can see, soon after the entry there was a doji, there was another kind of doji, and the market tried a couple of times to go down, and by this time, especially in the morning, I tend to be quite quick, so I closed it out at break even. This is 5, 10, 15, 20, it's half an hour doing nothing, it's enough. We had this big spike here, nothing to do because we trade after this line, which is 1 o'clock. We had this trade here at 1:15. Now this is a tricky period because we had quite a lot of news. Usually news on US economy, unemployment claims and so on do not affect very much oil, and because I knew that I couldn't have traded any other index or FX, I actually decided to take a little bit more risk and get in with this. As it happened, it was very good. The stop should have been just below here, R1, and that was a very good trade. This one was again a little bit tricky. It was an advanced trade because it was a re-entry, and you see here the same thing that happened here. A lot of spikes, doji, market not really doing anything. However, I decided to be a little bit more patient, first of all because I had some profits here to play with, but secondly because everything was going up. DAX, dollar, everything was really going quite fast up, and I thought that there was some buoyancy in the market, and in fact patience paid out, and I had my scalp, and then the market went down. Let's move to indices. Let's start with the DAX, and as you can see, it was a really great day for the DAX, and I actually started with probably the fastest scalp in the world. This lasted really a few seconds and went up and went down, so it took half of my trade out with 10. I didn't even have the time to move the target up to R1, and then it went down and closed out at break even. Now here you could have other opportunities to re-entry, but there is this R1 here, so I have to wait for this R1 to be cleared, and this happened here. However, here the market really didn't go up enough for me to get my 10 points. It did actually 10 points, but it wasn't triggered, and then the market went down, so that's fine. The really annoying thing is that DAX woke up quite late. As you can see, there is a resetting of the signal, and the signal is on this bar here, pretty big bar, but look at the time, it's 10:10, and I don't trade at that time. So looking at the DAX, I would have really missed all this uptrend here. We'll see that we've been quite luckier on the YM in a second. Afternoon, this was really I just put it here just to show that there could have been a trade, but in between all this news, I really didn't like it. And but if you did, you would have entered at 1340. Remember, 14 Draghi was peaking, so the market really didn't do anything, and by this time you really should have got out before Draghi starts speaking. Same thing here, you could have got in here, but this was when New York opens, and we don't trade in New York Open, and then the market went straight to R3, and at that time I decided that enough is enough, so I filtered this one. But the real star of the show was today YM. You see that nothing really happened here. You wouldn't have been triggered at these particular points. There was really nothing going on here. But then you have this signal here. Now this signal here would have been okay if this was a little bit higher. So you could have entered at 20 and test this high here, but this high was very low, if you excuse the pun, and it went. I had to wait for the market to pass this level. Luckily for me, it passed it here. And you see, this is 9:50, just 10 minutes before the cutoff time, and really after that, it really didn't look back, and Of course, you take your 10-15 points with the first half, but then you just move it along and try to stay with it as much as possible. As it happened, the second trade was out here, so really very good. In the afternoon, well, we have the usual thing. This is 1:45, too close to news. This is 2:30, New York Open. But the way New York opened actually was really very good, and because you have this uptrend, and I was also looking at all the other indices, ES and Q and so on, they were all going up. This was a reversal bar, and you see it was stopped immediately. So one thing, this would have been very aggressive, that could be done, was just to follow the trend. So you switched your mode, and get in every time you can, long in this case. You would have had 10 points here. This is much better. The market actually had an exhaustion. It went down and it bounced actually twice on the moving average. This for me is a pretty good signal to get in again, and we had enough time to check and retest the high, and we actually had a little bit more because there was an extra attraction here for the R2. So 1, 2, 3 great trades, and YM really paid out today.